We had almost 3 million people view our Flow Ninja website on the Google's homepage over the past 12 months. And just to give you an idea of how much eyeballs that is basically like the whole city of Dubai had a billboard in front of them for a few seconds saying your go-to Webflow partner. Of course, the CTR on those impressions is like from 1 to 5%, so we actually got a lot less visitors to our website than 3 million. But in general, the idea is that in today's day and age, to get that many eyeballs on your website, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money, and it's not gonna be so easy. Of course, I don't like to overcomplicate it, and like I also don't have a course to sell you, so that's why I'll showcase our exact SEO process over the past years and show you how you can use it for your clients or for your own studio. If you start getting into the rabbit hole of SEO, you're gonna see that there are many different problems. Everybody has a course to sell you with their secrets. There are gonna be AI tools coming out and like people saying, okay, AI is gonna be killing SEO. You're gonna be like using tons of different plugins on WordPress if you do decide to use a kind of WordPress website, and like below you're gonna be seeing that and kind of how it works. Just before getting into the process, I just want to go and just show you like an overview of kind of our GCC, Google Search Console. You're going to be seeing that over the past 12 months, we've increased our impressions like basically on a daily basis by like almost 100%. So we went from 4,000, 5,000 to 11,000. So like that's going to be double increase in terms of impressions. We're getting kind of the average CTR of 1.5% depending on the keyword itself. So you can see that everything I'm actually talking about, we're feeling it on our own skin, and we don't have anything to sell you. So like I just want to showcase and kind of provide value on kind of what we're doing, how we're doing it, like how can you maybe test it on your own site. The first step on the list is going to be auditing the current state of the website itself. I know like on our side over the years, we've seen many clients receive audits from different SEO agencies that they've charged thousands and thousands of dollars. But in the end, it's basically just reports from SEMrush. It's an incredibly powerful tool. It is expensive on one side, like it's like around $300 per month, something like that. But it's going to give you the first step of understanding where your website is at currently, what things you can do to improve upon it. You can start doing research. You can see keyword gaps. You can start researching what your competitor is doing, and in the end, as our team likes to say it, basically the most important SEO tool is your brain. So that's why you're going to be getting a lot of data points on SEMrush, but you're going to have to understand how to use those data points and how to slowly start thinking about your strategy and what do you want to do with the keywords and with the way you're ranking. Additionally, you can also use Screaming Frog. We use that like when we're scoping out websites in many different occasions. So that's also going to be a great tool up your sleeves in order to use it. It's old, but it's going to provide you the best possible value and kind of explore the sitemap of your website even further. After we go ahead and kind of see the current state of the website, we start seeing some of the competitors like keyword gaps and kind of what we can do. Then we're going ahead and kind of creating our content calendar. So you're going to see it here on my screen. It's going to be blurred, so just we don't showcase our own content and our own kind of secret keyword strategy. But the next step is going to be, okay, I've seen everything in SEMrush. I've seen kind of maybe like, and I have the idea of where can I rank. And of course, kind of with time, as you get more and more experience with SEO, you're going to understand better keyword gaps. But this is where you're going to be starting to write titles for your blog posts, maybe ranking for like Webflow cost, maybe ranking for Webflow agency or something like that. But you're going to be creating a content calendar. We usually like to create a content calendar for a year, where you're going to be outlining 48 blog posts you want to rank, how much volume do those blog posts have, when you're going to be creating them. We usually like to create 4 blog posts per month, and based off of that, just prepare a straight bulletproof technique you're going to be using over the next year, so that you don't have to constantly revert back and constantly change your strategy. You need to go ahead and create a strategy for a year, stick to it, and only then kind of figure out, is it worth it, was it good, was it not good, and then based off of that, continue further. This step is also the step where you can make the most amount of mistakes. If you create a pretty bad keyword strategy, is going to be pretty hard for your clients or for you also to rank for anything. So that's why we usually try to create like for the first year, create a keyword strategy which is going to be ranking for easier keywords, like which have easier competitive ranking. And also on the other side, we try to rank for kind of long tail keywords. So we're not going to be trying to create a blog post for a transactional keyword like buy me an apple, but we're probably going to be ranking for a keyword which is what is an apple. So like you're just going to see kind of the competition is going to be much more fierce in the transactional keywords. So that's why we want to go ahead and start testing out kind of long tail keywords which are going to be driving traffic towards our business and our brand as people are researching maybe the platform as Webflow, but if they're researching any of the other products or services or anything like that, and that even when they search maybe Webflow ads, they can see your brand even though you're maybe a SaaS tool like using Webflow ads for something. Just an example, but like try focusing on long tail keywords and creating an SEO strategy based off of that. The next thing after kind of getting the yearly plan, like again, you're going to be seeing my blurred screen. Just kind of on the left, you're going to be seeing what should you have in the content brief. You're going to be going ahead and creating maybe 8 content briefs at once, just not to go ahead too far. Sometimes we create for for 1 month, we just create 4 content briefs kind of in front, where you're going to be having the slug, you're going to have the title tag, headline, description, target keyword, secondary keyword, additional keywords. You're gonna be seeing what search intent these people are people gonna having here. Are they considering? Are they exploring? Like, is it transactional, etc., etc. How much words do you want to have? How much competition there is, and like who's kind of ranking above you for that keyword. You're gonna be writing an outline, basically headings which you want to cover and kind of which topics you want to cover in the blog itself. And based off of that, you're going to be kind of finishing off with external links, where you're going to be linking outside, where you're going to be linking in your website, and having a call to action and kind of where you're going to be leading people to. So that based off of that, when you do create a content brief, you're going to be able to get to writing and start writing actually quality content. And this is where AI comes in. And like many people are going to say, okay, AI is going to be writing all of my content, but Google actually has a rule where they're going to say, okay, we cannot probably recognize all of the AI content because it's going to be pretty hard. But Google has, as you see on my screen, EEAT, which is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And in order to get the EEAT score from Google by having only AI texts, it's going to be pretty hard. So that's why I think that you can use AI to help you out with ideas, to help you out with a content plan, to help you out with the briefs. You can use it in many different areas. But in order for your brand to start ranking, Google is going to see, okay, is the author who is ranking this actually writing about it? Who's linking back to the website? Just seeing your overall authority in the niche, and without kind of having proper authority and setting it up properly, is going to be pretty hard to rank. At least in our own experience, and that's what we've been experiencing. Like the SEO is a big subject. Nobody actually has the exact SEO rules, but this is just what works for us and like what works for our clients, our studio. And like we just usually like to stick to the EEAT rule of the expert being the authority in your niche. And based off of that, you're just slowly gonna start implementing the tactic itself. So let's say you write 4 blog posts per month. It's gonna take some time for Google to start indexing them. So like, let's say after 3 months, you're hopefully gonna be opening your Google Search Console and seeing some traction, some impressions, some clicks on the blog posts. And that's where you can start maybe optimizing the titles so that you get a better CTR for the titles themselves. Or one additional thing we do is like when we do see that the blog is ranking pretty well, we go ahead and revise it completely. So let's say maybe like a copywriter wrote the blog kind of together with me. Then like if we see that it's behaving nicely, we go ahead and add a few more team members just to read the blog and just to try to create a better experience of reading the blog by adding more creative assets, by adding more kind of interactive items to have people viewing the website for a longer time. After that, we come to the off-page SEO topic, and like we don't like to go into the black hat areas and actually buy links, but the way we do, let's say off-page SEO, is by guest posting on our client's website. Like let's say we have links from Upwork, we have links from Webflow directly linking to our website. And also I'm guest posting on a lot of different podcasts and kind of a lot of different shows, so that based off of that, we can have our brand keyword going more and more and telling to Google, okay, they're an authority in this niche. There's a lot of different people talking about that, so that you can slowly start building natural following, and Google is going to be recognizing that naturally. If you want to fake it, I'm not the best person to talk about it. I know that you can buy backlinks and there's a lot of different things you can do there, but that's not just something that we do and that we have experience in. So like that's not what you're going to be hearing in this video. And then afterwards, almost the final step of the puzzle is going to be getting to the technical SEO part. Of course, you're going to be fixing the 404s, the redirects, the broken links, cannibalization and stuff like that. And all of that is going to be happening on an ongoing basis. But on top of that, what I do think is that you're going to be also changing the design of the blog post page, changing the behavior of how the blog post page works, changing the whole website and kind of how it converts. And that requires ongoing design, ongoing development, and just kind of ongoing conversion rate optimization of your website to make sure that whoever visits your website can stay longer. And one controversial topic here is like, does Google actually care about the speed? Well, technically they don't care about the speed. But if you see it on a different route, if a person comes to your website and it takes 10 seconds to load, they're going to be closing it out after 5 seconds, and they're not going to be spending any time on the website itself. So, I mean, like, either though technically Google is not going to be taking your speed and giving you good rankings, but people are going to be staying more on your website if the website is fast. Thus, Google is going to say, okay, this website is good. I want people to spend more time on this website itself. So based off of that, you can see how it technically doesn't matter, but it also does matter in the end itself. And then after, let's say 6 months or something like that, you're going to start understanding how maybe Google works a little bit more, how you can write good content, how you can write quality content, how you can improve your kind of website design wise. And the final step of the puzzle is going to be start launching either like landing pages to rank on SEO, or start launching some of the programmatic SEO campaigns. This is where you can kind of maybe have a hack that you're going to be able to rank quicker, and you can read a blog on the Webflow blog about programmatic SEO. But this is where you start getting into some tactics and getting more content on your website in front of your customers a lot quicker and a lot easier, without like a lot of that hassle. And that's where Webflow is great as a platform, because they do have an incredible kind of CMS that's going to be able to power that programmatic SEO backend. So after all of this, the secret of having 3 million more impressions on Google is actually to stay consistent to your SEO strategy. Again, on our side, we do use SEO sprints, and like that strategy, let's say, takes a minimum of a year to see that is it going to be working well or is it not going to be working well. But the most important thing, I think, for me, and the most important secret, is not to have your attention go like, let's say, try this, let's try this, let's try that, and just kind of continuously to test new things which are probably not going to be working. The secret is that SEO is going to be a little bit simpler than like many of the people are going to be saying, but it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more dedication and inputs in order to do it well. Because in order to write a good article, you're going to need to spend a lot more time writing it so that users that are actually going to be reading it to kind of identify which are the proper keywords, and like all of that comes with experience and with you actually testing SEO on many different websites. One of the things that I do think is kind of worth actually spending the money on is like SEO consultants, and even us as an agency do have SEO consultants. So that's where we saw maybe the biggest benefit is having somebody who's been through everything, and like that you have an hour or two with them to kind of brainstorm more of your questions that you had about SEO, and that's how you can maybe increase the likelihood of getting somewhere quicker. Of course, all of these steps kind of require a lot more research and a lot more work, but after you have those kind of big topics and big points, I think you're going to be having a much easier time to go ahead and research on Google, research on YouTube, and just kind of research all of these topics kind of in much more detail and start seeing how you can apply it on your own website.